Now we're live.
Yo.
Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse live. And we've got live complications. Thank you, StreamYard. Made us wait like 10 minutes to go live here. Well, look what we have. Look who we have here to talk about a possible closeout game for the New York Knicks in round 2, Mr. Stephen Fox. What's up, Foxy? Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you. Yo. One game to go. Shout out to you. Shout out to the chat. Love everybody. I am so excited about this special season, the special Brunson and everybody else. One game to go, and we're going to do it.
Oh, you feel confident?
I do. I think the same thing's going to happen that we did with the 76ers. We're going to close them out. Step on their throat and then say F Celtics.
Oh, the Celtics are already talking shit too.
I know. That's why I said it, man. I heard their fans and my fingers, I gave them that we're number one.
Oh, man. Well, welcome into the Knicks-Verse, everybody. This is a like an in-between, an off-day live stream having here with a special guest, Stephen Fox, who has been a long-time Knicks fan. Obviously, you know him from Sports Vibes TV with Keese and other channels as well. He posts great insight, well, at least to me, he shares tremendous insight for the games themselves and on the draft. Maybe we'll touch a little bit about the draft later on, Foxy. We have some time.
I've been working lately.
Yeah, I saw that because we're definitely going to do some live shows because we've had fun and we have been pretty incredibly accurate in picking which players really have a chance of becoming something. So that'll be fun to work on. But tonight, we're going to talk about Game 6 between the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers. It's, I got to say, man, I am ecstatic by how the Knicks responded in Game 5 after that Mother's Day massacre on Sunday. It was outstanding. So we're going to break down the upcoming game. And, talk about, the injuries updates with OG and all that and adjustments that Thibs and Carlisle might make. But first, we all want to know how you are feeling about this series and how the Knicks responded in Game 5.
I loved how they responded in Game 5. I love, this team, adversity doesn't seem to impact them. They keep losing guys keep, next man up, and they're delivering. And, if you said to me in today's NBA that two teams shot about the same from the foul line, but one team shot 44% from three and the other team shot 34% from three, which team would win? And I would say probably the team from the three. Well, nope. Even though the Pacers shot 44% and we shot 34%, we beat their ass. And a lot of it could be attributed to, and you mentioned it on your phenomenal recap of, getting up, 29 more shots. It was unbelievable that they could get that. And also, first of all, shout out to Tibbs for, I'm trying to find out if maybe Johnny Bryan had anything to do with it, but with Deuce, never set more than 8 screens in a game in his life. He set 23 screens in the last game to free up Brunson. So it's absolute genius. So whether it was Tibbs, Johnny Bryant, somebody else, or, a collaboration of all of them, it was brilliant to do that. It changed everything. And also, defensively, to hold the fourth quarter, Nesmith had 0 points. Miles Turner had 0 points. Halliburton had 2 points. Nembhard had 2 points. TJ had 3 points, and Obi had 0 points. Plus, he was a minus 25. And just a real quick story. My wife said, I just heard you say I hate that fucking guy. Who are you talking about? And I said, that guy Obi Toppin. He's losing, and he's by the Knick bench. That's the reason the Knicks got rid of him.
He's not a serious player.
He's not. He's a poser. I just said to my wife that
disappointing.
That breaches, man. When you're playing in a game, you're my enemy. After the thing, we can party and stuff like that, but during a game, you're my enemy. Don't even look at me. That's the reason Knicks got rid of Obi, man, and I'm glad we did. But I'm just
would have been nice to have gotten a little something. A player or something, especially now since we're so depleted. But we'll get into that.
No doubt. But the one thing I say, and I said the same thing about Cam Reddish, is that don't you think the Knicks would have taken a first-round draft choice if they got offered it? The best offer they got was the 2 seconds from Indiana, very similar to Cam Reddish. Everyone's like, he's prototype size, everything. We should got a first. Absolutely, in a fan's mind. But if the GM can't get somebody to give him a first, I
will shout. I will say this though about him. People have been shitting on him all season. They're Jarace Walker's going to take the starting spot before they traded for Siakam. Oh, Jalen Smith's going to take it. Meanwhile, they're not even in the rotation. Obi has somehow stayed in the rotation, and he's part of a second-round team, and he's a key contributor off the bench. So, yeah, we should have gotten more than 2 second-rounders for that kind of a player. And if they hadn't traded for Siakam, he would be the starting power forward on this team right now. So, he's not serious. But he's not a dog.
They traded for Siakam because they knew that, Obi will never be a Siakam, especially on defense.
Yeah, Siakam's not even a Siakam right now.
No, he's not. But Obi on defense has always been a liability, always will, and he can do his, between the leg jams on his leak outs, and that looks pretty. But you were minus 25 on the night, bro.
Dude, in the playoff game to do that, man, that was balls. He nailed it, but we've seen him also totally screw it up.
Yeah, Carlisle's old school. If he missed that like he did when he played for the Knicks, man, I wonder if it would be Jarace Walker playing.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm surprised he didn't react more strongly to it. But I guess they're in the playoffs. They're not gonna. They don't want to disrupt what they have going at this moment. But yeah,
I'm with you.
Hey, we got Lex Destroyer in the house. Thank you for joining us, brother. Best mod around. Man, we got a good crowd. We got the old school group here. We got John Rover, John Talento, Nelly Nell. Let's see, I saw someone else.
Show Quan, how are you?
John 17, what's up, brother? Splash 1976, Il Matrix. All right, we got the old schoolers here. All right. What to you? So one thing I'll tell you to talk about the Deuce situation. Because talking with JD, what adjustments should we make and all this stuff, and I sent him a whole list and everything. And I'll tell you, because I never ever thought that Thibs would start Deuce over Achua. So I just thought, okay, well then got to work with Achua, remind him of the player he was in that February 1st game against the Pacers where he was fabulous. Just make sure he sees what OG does for this team and try to emulate that as much as possible. Shoot, practice your threes, get out there, shoot a three. That's what we need. If you're going to start, Thibs goes the other way. He goes small, trades, and technically trades defense and size for offense. And it worked perfectly, brilliantly, and none more so. I think you just mentioned the pick and rolls, screens.
The screen, Precious wouldn't be in that situation.
And he's a little block, Dude,
he's a football player,
and he did an incredible job. And I'm not. Someone else actually pointed this out on another live stream or something. I can't remember where, but shout out to whoever pointed this out. Deuce did a masterful job of helping to peel Nesmith off of Brunson around those screens by setting a solid, wide enough pick that's not going to, get called for an offensive foul, and that extra half second of time that he was able to provide to Brunson, half second to second of extra time that he provided Brunson by getting Nesmith to just get stuck on Deuce a little bit more, allowed him to do what he was able to do in game 5, as opposed to what he did in game 4. I think I see more of that happening. The other thing is the pick and pop aspect of it works so much better when it's Deuce, a small guard, and it's not a big like Isaiah Hartenstein, who then has to go and crash the boards to get the potential offensive rebound. Isaiah's already down around there, so he can set himself up better. And actually, and that's one of the other reasons why Isaiah Hartenstein was able to get 12 offensive rebounds, because he wasn't the pick and roller. He wasn't the roll man. And then when it's the pick and pop, in the pick and pop situation, you have to respect Deuce's 3-point shot. He's averaging still near 40% for the playoffs, and he averaged 40% for the season. So it's amazing. And then the bottom line was, and I said this in the recap, was Thibs was just like, you know what? Here's my strategy. We're just going to outscore these motherfuckers. And our defense is better than theirs. So we're going to win this game. It's
that
really
plus they played pure Tibbs ball. Points in the paint, Knicks 62, Indiana 36. Rebounds, Knicks 53, Indiana 29. Second chance points, Knicks 26, Indiana 9.
Yeah.
Rest your case. That's right there. That's Knicks basketball will beat you.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. But that's the thing, because we know we got that. We just have to score enough points because they're going to put up points. But the beauty was we lit them up so much and frustrated them so much. Even when they had decent looks, they didn't take them. They felt a little hesitant. Like I think you just pointed out that they took only 25 3-point attempts or something like that. You're supposed to take at least 35.
27.
27. Yeah, at least 35. It worked out perfectly. Now the question is, can it work the same way in Game 6? I think it can, because as you saw, Carlisle did make an adjustment. He did end up going big. He brought in OB. He brought in, I forget some of the other, I can't remember who the actual alignment was, but he went bigger, and it had a little bit of a positive result. I think that's when they went on that second 9.991 run or something. But then Thibs, obviously, at that time, we didn't have Josh Hart on the court, and you need him on the court to do that. So they put him back in, and it just started clicking beautifully. I don't. Now we'll get into it. We're getting ahead of ourselves, but that Game 5 was a masterful coaching and player execution performance, as masterful as we'll ever see, honestly, especially in light of what had just happened to them in Game 4.
Yeah. Is it me, or Brunson looked like he had a little more, that he got back a step in Game 5 from 4? He looked like he was just lagging, and and with those screens, like you said, that little second delay with the screen on Nesmith, it gave him the maneuverability to, use that, his craftiness to do what he needs to do. Also, one of the biggest things I thought, and I'll just carry it over, is we know Brunson's going to be Brunson. He had 10 points in that first quarter. But the big thing that changed everything was that Deuce had 9 and Josh had 10 in that first quarter. So you have Brunson with 10, Josh with 10, Deuce with 9. That's a great way to start a freaking game.
It's beautiful, beautiful, well-balanced scoring.
Beautiful.
That was like, my son and I had just smiles on our face the entire game. They got a little tight when those 9-0 runs, those 2 9-0 runs happened. But even then, we didn't lose faith, but it got a little tight, but that was it. The rest of the time was just pure smiles. It was awesome. I don't know if we'll be able to repeat that in Game 6. We'll talk about that. But one thing I want to talk about now is, because it's on people's minds, it's what's happening with OG. And so let's see what is going on here. The latest. So Thibs was asked during the press conference today, and he said, Tom Thibodeau says OG Anunoby is doing a little bit more, but we'll see where he is tomorrow. So he's already been ruled out for Game 5. Game 6. He's already been ruled out for Game 6. Ian Begley, he talked about it today. OG Anunoby being ruled out for Game 6 and what to expect from the Knicks in Indiana tomorrow. OG, maybe he's ready for Game 7 if there is a Game 7. If not, then hopefully he'll be ready for Game 1 against the Boston
So,
Celtics.
yep.
Oof. It seems like we're destined to head towards that. One thing that Ian reported a little more than what Thib said was he really hasn't been doing much more than he was doing yesterday. He didn't do much more. I mean, he's doing a little bit more, but really it wasn't hardly anything. So he's just, out there doing some shooting and some light drills, have even stretching mostly, probably. Yeah. So it's not, I don't feel that confident. Like, let's say, we drop game 6 and we have to play game 7, which would be on Sunday. Then will OG be ready for that? I don't know. That's just not that much more time. It's just another 2 days. If the game was like Monday or Tuesday, possibly he'd be ready for a game 7. So really at this point, like, it's game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. That's what we need him for.
Our brother JD put out a tweet that said that if the Timberwolves win, that means the Knicks would play Tuesday if they close out instead of Monday. And that extra day for OG
if
would
the
make
Timberwolves win.
Exactly.
Yeah, if they win. So we're all going to root for the Timberwolves tonight. We're going to root for them because we need our guys to have some rest. I mean, that's definitely an impact. We had a great rebound game, a rebound game, but a bounce back game in game 5. But game 4, we looked just dead in the water. Like we were just a bunch of corpses floating down a river. I mean,
it's like we lost our battery. But you brought up something before about points, and folks, it's been a while. But Foxy with his data mining. Here's a Foxy special. Here is some data mining I did especially if you like betting. Over 110 points. When the Knicks scored 110 points this year during the season, they were 38-12. When the Knicks scored under 110 points this season, they were 12-20. Now going into the playoffs, carrying that same thing, when they score over 110 points, they're 5-1 in the playoffs. And when they score under 110 points, they're 2-3. So, folks, the magic number for us is 110 points. We're very difficult to beat when we score more than 110 points. So that's a Foxy special for you, folks.
And to follow up that Foxy special, the top 2 point scoring teams in the NBA playoffs are the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks, people. The Pacers are leading all teams, scoring 112.6 points per game. The Knicks are number 2 with 110.6. So there you go. There you go. So we've won 7 games out of these 11. We're going to win the 8th tomorrow. I really feel like we're going to win it. And I'll tell you why I think
that extra day off is going to make a difference too.
Yes. And this is how I've been explaining the psychology of this. This is the way I look at it. On Sunday, we were embarrassed, humiliated. Now we were exhausted as well, but we got to come back home and had one night in between the games. Just got back to business the next day with a few extra hours of rest because it was an early start on Sunday, which hurt us in terms of the enough time between game 3 and 4. Took 4 hours away. In a professional athlete's life, their regiment, especially with the intensity of the playoffs, those 4 hours are costly, and they cost us a lot. They cost us game 4. But game 5, boom, the guys got back onto the routine and they gained those 4 hours. And it was a late start. So with Indiana, that is going to work. The extra day is going to work against them because they were totally humiliated at the Garden. They have never been able to win at the Garden during these playoffs. They are right now, the thought of coming back for a game 7 has got to be daunting. It's not something they're going to say out loud, not even to each other. But when they're there on the treadmill or they're thinking about whatever they're doing, they're in the bathroom of themselves, showering or whatever, and they're looking in the mirror, they're going to remember the hostility of the Garden of game 5. And it's going to take the edge off of them. They're not going to have that edge. They're going to come out flat in game 6. Yeah, because they're gonna feel hopeless. Because they're gonna be like, yeah, if we can win at home, but we have to go back to the Garden. It's it's so important, that type of mentality, that psychology of the situation. It, especially at this level of the game, it's critical. Whereby our guys, you knew how they were going to respond. They were going to take ownership of the defeat, and they were going to do everything they could to come back and bring it their all, which is what they did. But the Pacers, even if they do that, they still have to come back. They have to win 2 in a row against us. They have to come back and do it at the Garden. You know what? Maybe maybe Siakam, it doesn't bother him with it, but the other guys, the role players, even Tyrese Halliburton himself, that stuff is going to fester in their minds, and that really does impact their performance on the court. That's why I feel like they've already lost Game 6 because of that extra night, because they can't get back out there. Like, they would rather be out there tonight, right now. They don't want to be sitting there right now tonight, listening to all the prognosticators all day long, reading all the shit, seeing stuff on Twitter, having to replay the game in their minds. This is, I think they're cooked.
I think they're cooked. Yeah, I think they're soft. I really do. You know, Turner, a funny stat was Turner hit those 3 threes. For that quarter, he was minus 14. Even though he hit those, he hit those 3 threes. We're doing what we want. So if we, like I said earlier, we control the points in the paint, we control the rebounding, we control the second chance points like we did last game, and we will. We're going to win the next game. I felt Philly was a tougher series than with Indiana.
No doubt.
And we closed out Embiid and Maxey, and so I feel very strongly that we're going to do it. Starts at 8:30 tomorrow night, so there's a little more time for them to get rest besides the extra day. We're going to kick their ass tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to beat them. Whether we kick their ass or not, I don't know, but.
If we beat them, I don't care how we beat them.
Yeah,
we kick
exactly.
their ass.
That's kicking their ass. Like, right. I don't know if we're going to have a 30-point blowout like we just had, but I can see us winning, a nice, somewhat comfortable, like 10-point game, where they make a few runs and they just can't get over the hump. They putter out. I can see that happening. Right now, in the conference semifinals, the leading offensive rebounder is Isaiah Hartenstein in the NBA. And in terms of offensive rebounding percentage, number 2 is Precious Achiuwa. Guy's incredible. But in terms of total rebounds, where did my stat go? I had it here. Total rebounds, I believe Josh Hart is the leading rebounder in the NBA in total rebounds, leading Jokic, Mobley, Doncic, Tatum, all these guys. He's got 134 total rebounds for a 6'4" guard. That is just a unique tool, a unique weapon to put out there on the court. That's fantastic. And that's totally, you could see that only happening in a Tom Thibodeau team. He loves guys like that.
I'm old, so Dennis Rodman was one of the greatest rebounders I've ever seen. He was just relentless. Josh Hart has a lot of Dennis Rodman in him. He's smart. Yep. He talked about when he first got here playing baseball and how the trajectory of the shot, in his head, he can, go for, he knows the spot where he needs to go for that rebound, but he's just so freaking.
That's Josh Hart said that?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly what Dennis Rodman used to say. I remember several interviews with him. Like, why are you such an incredible rebounder? Because remember, this is the game was different back then. It was a lot of bigs. He was like 6'8", 6'7".
Yeah, 6'8", I think.
Yeah, something maybe 6'8", and he would guard centers, and that was a real difficult task back then because the centers were huge. We're talking about guys like Bill Cartwright, like monsters in the middle like that, and the game was different. It's much more compacted in the paint, but he said it just like with Josh Hart. He basically studied. He was like an outfielder. He was like a center fielder out there watching how the ball caroms off the wall and where it's going to go. And he goes to where the ball is going to be. And he just mastered that, and he was definitely one of the greatest rebounders I've ever seen in my life, and great and incredible defender. He is like a Josh Hart is like a miniature version of Dennis Rodman,
and also one of the finest conditioned
without the wedding
athletes, and one of the finest conditioned athletes I've ever seen. That guy would ride a bike after a game. You know, he was such a maniac. Yeah. But with Josh and everything. His conditioning is unbelievable. And another weird stat that I saw was let me see, this past season, the most points, the most minutes played in the NBA this year by a player was DeMar DeRozan. Sabonis was second, Kobe White was third, Mikal Bridges, Paolo, Durant, DeJounte, Anthony Edwards, Nikola Jokic. Brunson was 10th in the league, and Josh Hart was 11th.
Makes total sense.
Yeah, so everyone is like, wow, they must be number 1 or 2 in the league. They're not. Everyone at this time of year is playing crazy minutes.
Yeah, in the playoffs, the minutes isn't as big an issue. The only thing that's the issue is, our rotation is just depleted tremendously. When you're reaching down and you're pulling Sims onto the court, who has shown he's just not ready for the playoff intensity.
He's not ready. He shouldn't be on this team next year.
Yeah, he probably won't be.
Yeah. He hit his ceiling. He was the same age. He was a senior when he came out of Texas. Same age as Mitch. He's just like a deer in the headlights. He don't know what the fuck he's doing on the court.
Not at all. So Miles Turner definitely hurt us has hurt us in this series. He's averaging almost 48% from the 3-point line. But he's averaging less than 5 attempts per game, and that's really the smart thing that the Knicks have done. Just limit his looks. Nembhard is second, shockingly, tied with Obi. Our former Knick, Obi, is they're both at 46.2%, but both of them are only averaging 2.6 attempts per game. So the attempts are down. The guy who is putting up a lot of 3-point attempts is Tyrese Halliburton, over 9. But he's shooting 43.5%, which is great. They have 7 guys all shooting over 40% from the 3-point line, and they're down. They've only won 2 games against us, and one of them was a miracle.
That's what happens in the NBA when you don't play defense.
Yeah, and we looked at Nesmith, who is actually the best 3-point shooter on the team. Other than even than Turner, I would say Nesmith he was actually one of the top 3-point shooters in the NBA this season. He's down at 27.8%, and I think that's because he's forced to guard Jalen Brunson so much. I think he's exhausted. He's exhausted. The other stat that I saw, I don't have the numbers on it, but the amount of actual miles that Brunson and Hart have run, they've run the most miles of any other 2 players in the playoffs. And if you are forced to guard one of those 2 guys, that means you're running a lot as well.
Yeah, and it's like a championship rounds. It comes to the 4th quarter. That's when the Knicks are going to excel, and everyone else is puffing.
Man. Now, those stats I read to you was in the conference semis. That's against that. That's what they're doing against us. Let me pull up this other thing. One thing, let's move on to this.
Also, just real quick,
Sure.
One of the things that I think a lot of people didn't talk about was Dante on TJ McConnell. I thought Dante, TJ was all acting all punk and everything, and like he was hot shit. All of a sudden, for some reason, he plays well against Deuce. Another huge adjustment was Dante. And Dante shut his ass down.
Mm-hmm. He did, and he did and the few times I saw him guarding Tyrese, he did a good job in game 5. He got burnt in game 4, but he did well in game 5.
Very well.
Yeah. It's interesting that you put this little guy Deuce out there, right? I mean, this guy, he wasn't even in the rotation. He didn't even have a contract beyond this season when the season started. And as Stan Van Gundy mentioned, that the Knicks started in game 5, they started 4 guys that were not starting on this team. Dante was on the bench. Isaiah was on the bench. Deuce was not even in the rotation. And Josh Hart was the first man off the bench. He wasn't a starter on this team. That's incredible. That's incredible to think that we made it this far. And we're 4 quarters away from the Eastern Conference Finals, and that's our team.
And with Randall injured, there's not one lottery guy on this team.
Yeah, not one lottery guy. We have a couple first rounders, Dante. And, Hart,
exactly.
Precious was
OG.
but
OG's not playing. Yeah, but nothing in the top 10, the elite 10, and nothing with Randall out. And it just shows you, man, Nova boys and playing like a team and executing on strategies is everything.
It is. They're proving it. They are proving that team ball and adhering to a philosophy works. They're proving that. Shout out to Thibs too for driving that home.
Yep, definitely.
So Tommy Beer tweeted this out, and it's a retweet off of a Caitlin Cooper thread, which you guys should check out her thread first. She's got some interesting stats in there. But she wrote, like, more context. Here's the splits on Tyrese as the screener defender during the playoffs. Entire first round series, he had 19 picks. Whatever. So then Tommy Beer retweeted this, quote tweeted it. Good stat here. With McBride in the starting lineup in Game 5, New York spammed guard, pick and rolls all night. Halliburton, who Indy does not want to switch onto Brunson, was a screen defender more times in one game, 22, than he was over 5 games combined versus Milwaukee, which was only 19. Only 19 times. And we forced them in one game 22 times. That is something I do think Carlisle is going to try to make that adjustment there. How he's going to do it? I know.
I was about to say, I think we found the magic recipe, man.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing, if they go bigger, it can have some effect at first, but in the end, I think Jalen is he's figured out what he needs to do, how to make it happen. And man, did he have those guys on skates in Game 5. Nembhard, like, if they were still doing Shaq and a Fool, that would totally be on it. When he hit the floor and just get it off.
It looked like he was playing a twister.
It's hilarious. So in the conference semis, the leading scorer right now is Jalen Brunson for the Knicks, 32 points per game. Dante's number 2, 20.6. OG Anunoby, in his first 2 games, he's 20.5. He's still the third leading scorer. Then Josh Hart, 14.6. And Alec Burks, in the 4 games he's played in this series, he's averaging 13 points per game. But as you can see right here in the middle, Burks has 52 points in just 67 minutes of play. That is outstanding. Someone had put it in the chat in one of the lives when I was doing recaps and stuff, that said, hey, maybe Burks' shoulder is feeling better. And I hadn't even realized that. I hadn't even thought that he might have been hurt. Did you know that he was nursing something?
I did not, I can't tell a lie that I did not. I heard about it, but I did not know about it. I just heard like what you mentioned in the last couple of days, but I did not know about it. But you and I talking like a week or so ago, I mentioned to you that, Buddy Hield, when we were playing the 76ers, he finally woke up. And I mentioned to you while we were talking off the show that, Burks could have the same type of thing. He could wake up. And boy, did he wake up. He's shooting, obviously not the amount of Brunson and others, but he's shooting 50% from 3 in the playoffs, Burks.
Outstanding. Yeah, he's shooting.
He could always shoot the 3. Every year he played for the Knicks, he shot over 40%. So it's not shocking.
Yeah, and he was killing it in January, right before he was traded to the Knicks. He was shooting like 45%. Him and Bogey were both shooting in the mid 40s from the 3-point line. And then they both got here and they were both cold. But I'm wondering if Burks had picked up some kind of little tweak, an ailment or something, like right before the trade in February 8th, and came here, tried to play through it. He looked terrible. He also was approaching the game, poorly. His shot selection was total garbage.
That's what happens when you play for Detroit, folks. You get into bad habits, but sitting on the bench, it's funny how you get rid of those bad habits if you really want to get on the floor.
Yeah, and he gave him time to just watch the game and watch how like guys like Dante got their shots off, guys like Deuce, how he got their shots off in the flow of the offense. Or, when those moments when the offense was starting to break down, whatever play call they had called was breaking down, instead of just chucking, actually work a little harder to get a better look. And you see Burks has gotten closer to the basket, and he's comfortable in the corner. That left corner, he's been absolutely lethal.
Ripping it. Yeah.
Dude, I called it out. I mean, that 3-point shot he made in that fourth quarter.
It's huge.
After they cut the lead down to 7.
After those 3 threes by Turner, was it?
Yeah. Yeah. And that basically changed the whole game around. And that's the job of a guy from off the bench. That's his job, and he's finally really doing it. He's actually made it easy. When we lost Bogey, that was a big loss. Somehow we were still able to deal with it in the Sixers series, but it wasn't. You could see that we were desperately needing somebody to give us that kind of performance. And it's wonderful that it's Burks. Especially all the shit that I gave him shit. Everyone was giving him shit. I didn't want to touch the ball. Yeah,
it wasn't the same player that we knew from a couple of years ago.
Yeah. So then it kind of, but he is one of those streaky guys, and I remember saying this actually. To bring up JD again. Maybe even I said it to you. I was like, I could easily see Burks just coming. Like I think it was after game 3 or something. I could easily see Burks coming into this and just immediately just delivering, lighting it up, and boom, he's done it exactly like that.
Shooters are like that. You have to have a short memory, and boom. And also to give him all additional props, that his defense, he's playing pretty well. He's playing nice defense besides shooting the ball.
Yes, he is. Actually, especially in that game 5, he plays some really nice defense. He's our leading 3-point shooter right now. He's shooting 50%. OG's which was shooting 50% in the first 2 games, which is why we won those 2 games so easily. But yeah, Alec Burks
39.5.
Yeah, he's averaging 50% from 3 in this series, 51.7% overall, which is nice. That's nice because he was struggling inside the arc a lot. Dante's at 43.2%, but he's had like a couple of like bad games, but that includes some incredible games. It's a shame that we didn't capitalize on that game 3 performance he gave us because that was outstanding. Josh Hart's at 35.7%, but Deuce and Brunson are actually not shooting that well from the 3. Those 2 guys, 30.8% for Deuce total, 29.6% for Brunson. But in game 5, Deuce came through huge. And yeah, huge. He actually performs better in general from the 3-point line when he starts. I don't know why. If you look back at his history of this season, can't look beyond this season because he wasn't the player he is now. But yeah,
you'd have to look at the G League.
yeah, the G League. Yeah, when he started, it's weird. Like he's not one of those guys that can come off the bench and I mean he does it for us some here and there, but he's not a flamethrower. That's not his style. I think he needs to pick up the flow of the game, be in the flow of the action. That's one of the benefits of starting him. He's more comfortable right off the bat, and he can contribute offensively right away. Sorry. I'm sorry.
No, please.
Oh, the third slide I have or tweet I have here is from Bleacher Reports. Fred Katz reported this. I didn't actually hear him say it. I've just been seeing stuff written about it, but I haven't read the article or anything yet. But I was wondering if anybody knew about this. Knicks had to relieve some unexpected pressure before their blowout win. Apparently, there was an epic fart loosened up the Knicks locker room right before Game 5 victory. It's good to see that gaseous emissions can really lift the team to victory. No one knows who did it. They haven't reported who did it, but I hope someone eats pork and beans for breakfast and lets one rip
Yeah.
tomorrow, right before
Yeah.
the game.
And maybe in Halliburton's face while you were at it.
We surveyed 100 people says I feel like Thibs did it. Oh man. Hey, hit that thumbs up button for us. That'd be great. I would appreciate that. Share the video also as well. And drop your comments if you're watching this later.
Want to take a second, say hi to our family?
Yes, absolutely.
Hey, on Dios, New York, NYK, how are you? We see him in Morning Brew. Hope all is well. John Talento. We surveyed 100 people. John Rover, Lex the Destroyer, one of the great mods in history. Just appreciate all. Steve Larson, Angry Jenkins.
Yeah, we got a good crowd. We have over 150 people in the chat. The fans are hyped. Lex says, fart on the court. They won't want to guard you. We got Keith Watkins from Atlanta. What's up, brother? Good to see you.
ATL in the house.
Chaos Kid. What's up, man? We surveyed 100 people. Lex the Destroyer, John Rover. Got a great crowd here. All right, let's keep moving along. Now let's get into the nitty gritty. So, most importantly, what is Carlisle going to do? How do you think he's going to adjust to Thibs starting Deuce?
Well, if we farted, I think he's going to shit in his pants. I think he's at the point now where he's pulled out rabbits from his hat. I don't know if he knows what to do next. What can we throw at this team that the 76ers didn't? Is this a team of destiny? We saw the Heat and we saw other teams. Is he, that look on his face there may be a look that's like cemented in that cemented look like shit. I've been in this league a long time. I don't know what I can do now, especially after that last brilliant move of using Deuce 23 times to set up a screen for Brunson.
They're going to have to,
if they don't make their threes, it's over. It's over, man. Because they don't play defense.
I think one thing they'll probably try to do is get Miles Turner out there a little more. Because then when you do the switch, Turner's going to end up with Deuce guarding him. So he's going to just be basically neutralized. It's going to even be hard to even find Deuce if the Turner does his job right.
But if he's at the perimeter, he's going to light up. Miles is okay when he's in the paint, but he's out the Deuce with the savviness and footwork of Brunson. He'll leave him in his wake.
Yeah. Deuce is going to have to attack him, drive past him,
drive and kick it out if he's on him.
Kick it out, and if kick it out if Siakam is rolling over. Because he's the only other person that I see really giving Deuce some real trouble there. But the beauty is of using Deuce in that situation is, unlike a lot of these other guards, Deuce doesn't have to go all the way to the hoop to make his buckets. He's actually become a very good and consistent mid-range shooter. Like that nice 10-footer, 12-footer. I mean, he's almost money right now. So I love
it from the foul line. He has a beautiful, and you and I talked about this, folks. He had a beautiful midi game at West Virginia when George and I were scouting him. So we were waiting for that midi game to come alive in the pros.
And it took a long time, man.
He still got this summer. I want him to work on a floater, but yeah,
we see he's thrown it out there a little bit, but it's not at the level that it needs to be for sure.
Not an IQ floater.
Yeah. I think, look, a Nesmith, Shepherd has decent size. How big is Shepherd?
He's like a Grimes, 6'4".
6'4", 6'5", maybe?
Yep. Beautiful stroke.
Yeah, he's a nice player. So let's say they go, one way they could go is, so they got Tyrese, Nesmith, Turner, And I mean, you could almost bring Isaiah Jackson in. He's active.
He's played well.
He's played well. And if Shepard is 6'5", is what I'm thinking. 6'6". Shepard 6'6". So then Shepard. Now they put Shepard on Brunson a couple of times, and it hasn't worked out yet. But we know, like, these coaches don't give up on stuff right away. I mean, that's a nice big lineup. That's a lineup that could causes a little bit of pain. That's a lot of size. Yep. What, Neesmith is what, 6'8"?
He is.
Yeah. Well, they have him listed here at 6'6", but he's like a big 6'6". So he's like 6'7". So 2 6'6" guys. Jackson is 6'10", right?
You know what we've learned, everyone that's 6'8" from the combine is really 6'6".
6'6", yeah. Everyone's just
everyone,
but that's a decent size.
6'8", 6'9". Yeah.
I think that's something that we might see early. I don't know if he'll start that. They won't start that, but I could see if, like, maybe the first substitution is Jackson coming in for Nembhard, and then
Jackson for Nembhard.
Yes, go big. I'm telling you, this is what I would do if I was Carlisle.
I think he's too big. I don't think he's agile enough to at that level.
He's pretty agile. Jackson's pretty agile.
Big. Yeah.
For a big, he's pretty agile. I mean, that's an interesting combination. That's something to look at. That's what I think Carlisle should do, and what I think he might do. I don't know if it'll be Jackson, but he's going to want to find more size to put out there, because that's the only other thing that has actually worked in any respect in terms of trying to slow down Brunson and to impact his shooting. Oh, we got a super chat. Thank you so much, Mr. J. Russ. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. I think, yeah, man, there you go. Thank you, sir. I appreciate the support, man. I think that's the only other thing he can do at this point. I mean,
that, or try to pull out a Phillies book and rough up Brunson, play a little dirty to try to get into their heads. That's the only thing. I think John Rover mentioned that in the chat.
Yeah. I wonder if that will be allowed at all. I think the refs are probably ready for that, and they don't want to see that, even though they'd love to see a Game 7, the NBA. I mean, I don't think they're going to want to see basically the poster child of the playoffs right now is Jalen Brunson. He has become a superstar right in front of America's eyes, the world's eyes, the basketball world's eyes. Everyone knows he is a superstar. He has proved everyone wrong about him, and in such a profound fashion that if you allow them to get dirty, like the way the Sixers got dirty with our bigs and Brunson to some extent, I think that would be, I would not, and if he ends up getting hurt, there will be hell to pay if that happens.
Yeah, so Nesmith pissed me off last game. You know, he put his, Brunson came down. He stood where he came down. They didn't call anything, but that's my biggest concern, them pulling some shit like that.
Yeah. And Turner did it as well that was in Game 4. He closed out and they didn't call it at all. But I don't think it's going to happen in Game 6, Foxy. I think they're going to call it tight. I think they're going to they might try to get dirty, but they'll rein that shit fast. Now, so what is your adjustment, your initial thought, an adjustment that Carlisle might make this game?
I think you touched on it. I think, looking at other teams throwing length. So I just don't know from an agility standpoint who you're going to throw out there. Maybe Jarass Walker. I know it's crazy, but I watched him at Houston. He's fluid, but I don't think fluid enough to with a Brunson and stuff. And also, I'm weird this way that this is a game of muscle memory. You're in the playoffs. It's you can't just all of a sudden in a practice tell somebody that I want you to do something who hasn't done it all season. And expect them to execute at a very, very high level. So no matter what they do, it's not something that's going to be normal for their muscle memory during a game, which works well for us.
Yeah. The rebounding is a problem for them too.
Exactly. We destroyed them.
Yeah, we have 3 guys averaging over 6 rebounds per game in this series, and one of them is averaging 12, so he counts for 2 guys. So it's like 4 guys. The other one is Isaiah Hartenstein, who's averaging 9.6, almost 10 rebounds per game himself. The only guy they have averaging over 6 is Pascal. Neesmith is close, 5.8, and same with Turner. So they have a big problem in that respect.
And that second chance points, 26-9, was huge. We do that again, and it's over.
And I think we will. You know,
we will. The best offensive rebounding team in the league, man.
Yeah, there's no doubt. What happened in Game 4 was not we didn't play the way we normally play. Obviously, the other games we have now, we can still play the way we normally play and lose. That can happen, but I just don't see us deviating away from what has worked before. And we're definitely going to be getting those second chance points. So what's up, Margaret Edwards? Good to see you. Draymond Green calling Knicks flukes. Knicks need to finish them up. Yeah. Apparently, he was supposed to go on with CP today, and he bailed. He should never even have agreed. So I think that was silly of him to do. Look, the thing is, players don't watch the other teams like the way we watch our own team. You know, he doesn't really know what the Knicks are. It's whatever. They say things to get clicks, to make themselves, stand out in this whole noise of pundits and commentators. So he called us flukes. I don't see how we can. I don't see how that even works in any way, shape, or form. We got to the second round last year. We're back, and now we're actually having an ability to close out. So calling us flukes was a terrible, ridiculous comment. Where the Hawks, did the Hawks even make the playoffs the next year after they went to the Eastern Conference Finals? I can't even remember. I don't think they did. We didn't. We didn't after the Hawks made us leave. Yeah, that was an embarrassment, man. One thing we got to do is protect the ball. Especially in that first quarter.
Yeah, I think we only had 9 turnovers for the game, though.
Yeah, but we had like 5 of them in the first quarter.
Yeah.
And I think 3 of them were from Josh Hart.
Yeah.
He's averaging 3.8, almost 4 turnovers per game. That to me, I mean,
some of them are stupid.
Yeah, I know. So that's what I was going to get to. I think some people think, the minutes, that it's just your body getting tired. Actually, it's more your mind. You get foggy, you get fatigued. I know that when I'm playing like an intense long tennis match, that's what I have to fight against, is the mental fatigue. Where just suddenly you don't take that extra half step that you should have. You cheat. You try to slice it instead of a nice topic. So you try to cut corners here and there, and that's kind of what happens when they're overtired. And Josh Hart has played the most minutes, so he's averaging 40.4 minutes in this series alone. So I think that's where that comes from.
And what you don't understand, a lot of people don't understand too. Sometimes everyone is tired, and sometimes it looks like it's Josh's fault, but the other player's tired, wasn't at the spot he was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. Or not ready.
It looks like it was a Josh. Exactly. So it's like a Josh Hart turnover, but they're also the person he was going to, was tired and is not really where he was supposed to be.
Totally.
Because I saw a couple of looks between him and Dante and a couple others like, oh yeah, all right, I'm sorry.
Yeah. They're like, oh yeah, damn. All right. What do you think? You think Thibs is going to do anything differently this game? You think he's going to do anything differently?
No, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So it was a brilliant move. I think it alleviated some of the stress off of Brunson, which we need to do at this time after the amount of abuse that poor guy has taken this year. Just real quick about Brunson, I adore him. He's my favorite player in the league. One of the things that just thrilled me was I've been nonstop, folks. You know me with the draft, watching the draft combines and the young kids being interviewed. You know how many young kids that I watched over the last 3 days, they say, who do you, model your game after? Who do you watch? Jalen Brunson. So the young players are idolizing Brunson, and I love it. Like I want, watching his footwork, watching his demeanor, watching how he manipulates the play, keeps that dribble. I love that the young players are acknowledging how special he is.
And he's becoming a role model for people.
He should be. I've talked about it in the last stream with you. He's an academic All-American. He's a scholar athlete. I love smart. And whether it's, folks, if you think Deuce is good, wait till next year. He got him, besides Tibbs and Johnny Bryant, but having a mentor like Brunson in front of you, he grew exponentially this year with the experience that he's getting in the playoffs and everything. Deuce, next year, he'll go to the next level even more.
Wow, that's exciting. That's exciting.
And especially with the best contract I've seen in a long time. It's a steal.
Ah, man, that is great. I just need a second here, Fox. If you want to shout out to the chat at this moment, please do so.
Yeah, Weed Richards, he has uncanny strength. Margaret Evers, I'm worried about the Rangers. Rangers up 3-0 now, tied it. Okay. Bayard, Tibbs has to manage the minutes and substitute the right guys for the right moments. He has to make sure that each guy is probably guarding the correct matchup. I don't like Josh Hart on Siakam. Bayard, he doesn't have that much leverage. It's not like he has a list of people that he can put out there. Hey, Connor, thank you about the comment about Brunson. I was way ahead of everyone. I and Keith, we talked about Brunson before, while he was on Dallas, that I was targeting him, that us getting but I'd be lying to you. The player that I thought I wanted when I spoke about that is not the player that we got. He exceeded everything. I never in a million years. George and I talked about this the other day. Linsanity was such a short duration. What Brunson has done for a season is Michael Jordan-esque. This is just unbelievable what he's doing. I knew he was a good player, a solid player. I just didn't think he was going to be this fantastic. I'd be a liar if I told you that, so I'm just keeping it real.
Margaret put this up. I like this. Knicks need to play Game 6 like it's a Game 7. Absolutely. That's what champions
anything
do.
But anything can happen. That's why we closed that Philadelphia. If you're smart, anything can happen in a Game 7. Brunson could turn an ankle in the first quarter, and you want to close these bastards out, man.
Totally. What do you think the odds are he'll start TJ McConnell?
I don't, TJ had 7 points last game. I didn't see, anything that would warrant him wanting to start him again. Nembhard, and you and I, again, folks, we picked Nembhard as a sleeper. What point guard out there? And there's a kid on Gonzaga that played Nembhard. He's a really good player. So
we liked him a lot.
Yeah. So he's playing tough D. They're both picking him up 94 feet, him and McConnell. So that was tiring. But I don't know if they'll go with TJ in the starting lineup.
Yeah, I'll tell you, they're gonna have to do something, because if they come out and don't do anything significant, it's gonna feel like they're just putting out the same team that they just got their asses whooped. And I think that's another main reason psychologically why Thibs made the change. The argument was great. Maybe it was Johnny Bryant. I don't know how it came about, but by making that change, the team felt different on the court right away than they did in Game 4, and removed that stank. So they have to make some kind of a tweak at this point. And I'm just thinking, maybe McConnell, because McConnell has hurt us. He didn't hurt us in Game 5, but he has hurt us this series to some extent.
Well, we may have found this kryptonite in having Dante instead of Deuce or somebody else guard him.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing, is we have a counter to everything. Except Miles Turner is an X factor, and he hurt us terribly in the two losses. He hurt us, and then those little moments there where they made a little run, it was sparked by him. we just don't close out well on the perimeter on bigs. Pascal does a little bit better, but he does. I mean, not Pascal. Precious does a little bit better than Isaiah. But the beauty, the beauty of the move of putting Deuce into this lineup, and it not what the other thing, major adjustment that Thibs made is not sending three guys to crash the boards. What he allowed, and this is something that what's his name? He was on Locked On Knicks, and he's on KFTV sometimes doing the previews and stuff. And it was a great analysis on his part. The name will come to me. He said that he thought that Thibs should just let Isaiah Hartenstein focus on the boards. Just he's the only one who crashes the boards. Of course, if another guy's nearby, like a Josh Hart, so be it. But don't have Deuce, Hart, and iHart crash the board, or iHart, Precious, and whoever's on the court. Yeah, Burks also crash the boards to get the board, because that's how he kept getting burned in transition, and they kept getting easy buckets. And then those pull-up three-point shots that Tyrese hits, those rainbows, because he doesn't have a guy in front of him, and our defense is not set up. So the beauty is just letting Isaiah and one other guy do the dirty work of picking up the defensive rebound, or crashing the offensive glass. Because if he doesn't pick it up, then we have three guys back. Our guys, he starts sending them back, and then they're set. And we actually stopped that, and that was a big switch from game 4 to game 5, and it really helped tremendously. Yeah.
Fast break points. Pacers 14, Knicks 13. So that was a wash.
What was game 4? Game 4 we got.
Oh yeah, you're 100% right. 100% right.
Yeah. Knicks need to grab rebounds and off it, but the way they do it, Isaiah can do it on his own, and he proved it. He got 17 rebounds by himself, 12 offensive rebounds. So he's enough. And then whoever else is there, because the way the play had unfolded, they can crash the boards. But oftentimes, especially in game 4, you would see like 3 of our Knicks down low, and then the ball would pop out. One of their guys would get it, pass ahead, and boom, it's a fast break. And then it's Dante racing to try and stop the guy, and then Deuce. Although that was the Obi play. Remember, Obi duked them both, and then he got fouled and made the shot. Yeah. So that's something that definitely was a great adjustment. Totally worked out. I believe that that's not going to change, and the Pacers don't have the rebounding girth that is needed, especially in this, to compete against us. So that's another thing that we have a tremendous advantage over them. Tremendous advantage. Annuity's like, Foxy, you've been MIA.
Yo,
he's been living his life. He's been enjoying his life.
Hi, Annuity. I've been writing a book, folks. So I'm working with an editor. Finished my first draft. We're on the second thing, and hopefully I'll be getting out a book soon.
I'm excited.
Thank you.
I'm excited. Let's talk a little draft before we close this up. But before we do that, before we do that, I want to hear what your score prediction for this game might be.
I'm not a big guy in score predictions. I just know we're going to beat them. I feel very strongly we're going to do the same thing we did in Philadelphia. It'll be a close game. That's what I think we'll beat them by 8 to 10 points. We'll just pull away at the end of the fourth quarter in crunch time, and just close them out.
I like that 8 to 10. I think 8 to 10. I think that's what I'm feeling. A nice 8 to 10. I like buzzer beater's number there. That's nice. I go with that. 115, 103. It's a comfortable.
And buzzer beater he's my brother. He's saying exactly what I said, folks, earlier when my data mining, the Foxy thing. We're 38-12 this past year when we scored 110 points or more, and we're 5-1 in the playoffs when we score 110 points or more. So we do that. We have that score buzzer beater. We'll beat their ass, and we're going to be playing the Celtics.
There we go. There we go. Love that. Knicks and 6. Definitely want. I want Timberwolves to win tonight, and I want the Knicks to win tomorrow night, and then the series would begin on Tuesday if the Knicks win tonight. I mean, if the Knicks win tonight, I mean, if the Timberwolves win tonight and the Knicks win tomorrow night, series would start on Tuesday, which would be nice. And we'll have Saturday, Sunday, and Monday off. More time to recover.
Yeah, we need that extra.
Yeah, we need all the extra.
And God
days
willing, OG.
And then get God willing. That was the other thing. Yeah, OG. Hopefully that'll be enough to get him back out there. All right. Let's talk a little bit of draft. Unfortunately, I'm way behind on my draft analysis, but we have the man, one of the very best out there, who is going to share a little bit of some gold with us. You can go as deep as you want, or well, actually, let's not go that deep because let's save some
stuff for our show.
But just to recap, we have the 24th pick, the 25th pick, and I believe the 38th pick.
Correct.
Yes. Okay. What are we going to do with these picks, Foxy?
I think, folks, and it's been depressing for me for the last several years of them not picking, or I think we're going to actually make a draft choice this year. So I don't know if we're going to bundle, but a couple of, I've been talking to you. There's a couple of players that are on my radar. The first thing as an analyst, when you're looking at players, especially when you're picking the 24th to the 25th folks, you're looking if they have an elite skill. There's going to be some warts on them. That's why they're being picked 24th or 25th. A lot of times you see a guy 24th, he can shoot great, but he has no athleticism, or he has athleticism and he can't shoot. So, but obviously, and we talked about it earlier, we have a team of second round or non-high picks that went, that have really delivered. So this year, the first and foremost thing that we've learned is you want to draft a Tom Thibodeau player. That's the first thing. So the players that are on my list for Tibbs or for the Knicks is, and in no order, but Ryan Dunn, a 6'8", 7'2" wingspan, best defensive player in the draft. His measurables at the combine.
You can just stop right there. Best defensive player in the draft, Thibs is going to want that. But don't stop.
Well, very similar. You and I talked about a guy a couple of years ago. He had a tough year because they had to take out a benign growth in his leg. But you and I, there was a player that I was crazy about a couple of years ago, Tari Eason.
Yeah. And he would have been great on this team right now.
Unbelievable. We wouldn't have no OB issues. We wouldn't have any issues talking. But he had 5 stocks, which steals and blocks. Ryan Dunn does the same, but he's more athletic. 6'8", unbelievable on defense. He had unbelievable measurables at the combine. He shot like shit. So the whole thing is, we know this is not a guy with an offensive game. But what we've learned is we're going to sign the OG. But you and George and I talked about this about 2 weeks ago before his injury. We're worried when you're a thickly muscled player like OG, you're going to have these type of injuries. We've seen OG his whole career. So we need to have a defensive somebody where we're not putting a Josh Hart against monsters, and asking him to do the unthinkable so let's get ourselves a guy that is, the reality is not 6'8". He measured 6'6", but he did have a 7'2" wingspan. So Ryan Dunn, I think, would be a great addition, especially with Tibbs on this team. Let him play defense and let over the next 2 years. And again, shout out to JD. We were talking about it, and he said, what? It's like a deuce. We needed him to refine his game for a couple of years, and look where he is now. The same thing. We're going to need to, Ryan Dunn would need to refine his game on offense, but right out of the bat for Tibbs, he's an explosive. He can cover 1 to 4, and we know we're going to probably next year lose, OB for a strain here or that. He'll miss his games. If we can have a defensive stopper and come in, that would mean a lot. The next one, and I've been asking this for the last 3 years, and I don't mean anything to be a hater, but I wanted Mitch Robinson off this team for the last 3 years. Nice guy. He plays on Planet Mitch, always with his stupid tweets, but he's always injured. Shout out to Ron Cleveland. I talked to him a couple of weeks ago. He's doing great. But Ron Cleveland always said your greatest ability is your availability. And whether, whatever, I'm tired of him looking for revenge. It's time that we move on. And as long as Mike Woodson gives his blessing, Khalil Ware of Indiana, 7'4" wingspan, stretch 5 potential. This team desperately needs a stretch 5. We've looked at this team all year. We've seen the defenses thrown at us. Imagine if we had a stretch 5. Khalil Ware, and then one of my sleepers is Jackson Robinson of BYU. 6'7", again 7'2" wingspan, but this boy can shoot the 3. Woo! He can shoot. So I'll have a few more, but I wanted to just throw out there Jackson Robinson is one of my
Jackson Robinson, Ryan Dunn, and Khalil Ware are 3 guys that
Correct.
Foxy has
should be on the Knicks radar.
Should be on the Knicks radar. Is there any? Because I saw someone mentioned a backup point guard. Is there anybody out there that might be?
Yeah, his
in the second round.
No, there's somebody out there. His name is Rokas Jokubaitis.
Oh yeah, well we got him. Yeah, we'll see. It's taking forever to get him here.
But you know what? He's at the right age. He's better. A lot of the point guards. Some of them they're calling him point guards. I don't know what. Rob Dillingham of Kentucky. He's tiny. He's 164 pounds, folks. You show me a lot of, there's no way he's going to be able to hold a spot in the NBA at 164 pounds. 6'3" wingspan. The best shooter in the draft is Reed Shepherd, 6'3" wingspan. This is not Grady Dick, who's 6'9", and, NBA is unforgiving. So a lot of these guys at point guard, there's a couple of people that I like that if you were going to say who's the Andrew Nemhard, there's a kid, Reese Beekman on Virginia, who plays with Ryan Dunn, who's that real old school smart type of point guard. But there's a couple of guys, Keon George out of Miami. I don't want this team needs.
Oh yeah, that guy. What about that guy?
No athleticism. He's slow as shit. No explosion. So I'm glad he could shoot the 3, but this team needs athleticism in the worst way. That's why, Ryan Dunn, he would bring athleticism that we need in the worst way. So so that's what I'm looking for. But there's not Isaiah Collier, folks, is somebody that if he slipped for whatever reason, you and I talked to him before the season, obviously with Bronny at USC.
Yeah.
It's been a tough year, and
he did not
Boogie
impress
Ellis
me.
and a few other things. But he has explosion. He has talent in the right situation. And then, like I said, it's about value. If a guy like that slips in the 20s, it's something that you look at. You can't teach explosion.
So if we pick up Ryan Dunn, if we pick him up with the 24th and Collier's there, we get him with the 25th?
Not if we have Khalil Ware on the board. It's definitely, we have to move on from Mitch. We got to
Khalil Ware.
God willing,
I think Khalil actually might be gone by the 25th, the 24th pick.
There's a real good shot by 16 he may be gone. I'm with you.
Yeah. Thank you, Buzzer Beater, for the super chat. He asks, what about Jonas Valanciunas? Go Knicks.
I don't know, man.
He's a little slow.
Would add another dimension. I just don't know what the money's exactly, and also monies. We're going to have to sign OG. Won't be surprised if we do a new deal for Brunson. We'll see. Hey, Buzzer Beater, thanks so much for the super chat. Tyler Kolick, John, 6'3" Marquette. We got Deuce. We got Rokas. I just don't want us going for a slow 6'3" white boy.
Well, you make a good point. I mean, if Rokas is out there, what's up, Los? Rokas is out there, and he's been getting better every year. He's ready. I think he could have been on this roster this year. But we started the season with IQ, and then Deuce was the backup, so that's some redundancy there. But now without IQ on the team, I think it's pretty much there's runway. There's basically a place for Rokas now on this team, because right now, especially, we could really use him, because even though Deuce plays the point, but he's really more of an off guard.
He is an off guard.
Yeah, he's an off guard. Can he in another?
He's not a floor general.
But that's something like you were saying, playing with Brunson. He's going to learn a lot. I could see him in like maybe 2 or 3 seasons. He could become, like a real bona fide backup point guard that he can come in. But Rokas is the real deal.
He's a floor general.
He was a rising star, a winner in the Spanish league, which is the second best league in the world by far.
Luka Doncic won that award, folks. So that's a good company for him to be in.
Exactly. The UConn kids. The one guy I like is going to be gone. The guy, what's his name?
Castle.
That guy. I think that guy. Again, just to preface this, because I put a lot into my draft analysis every year and stuff. I haven't been able to do it yet, but I will. But I watched some guys here and there. He and the other kid, the Williams' brother, those two guys, Cody. Those two guys have like real special pop potential. Where like 4 years from now, they'll be looking back. Oh, they said this was a weak draft, and look at these two guys. That's how I feel. I mean, Castle's a special player, I think.
He is, but Steve, and the thing that really impacted his future was the measurables. Everyone was saying Castle out of UConn was 6'6.5". He measured 6'2.5". That's a huge difference. So, he's still going to be a really, really high draft pick. He's the nephew of Hard Will, a friend of mine, so I wish him the best. Hard Will's a good dude, so I want, but going from 6'6.5" to 6'2.5" in the NBA is a big freaking difference, man. And also the other UConn kid, Klingon, is a massive I think he has a 7'6" wingspan. Hey, that kid Zach Edey has a 7'10" wingspan. Is that crazy? That's Go Bears level. So that's what I think on the UConn kids. But buzzer beater, thank you. $17 million a year for Jonas. I don't know how that's going to fit with some of the stuff.
How much is he signed beyond, or that's what he's getting now? He's going to be a free agent?
I don't know. Buzzer beater said he makes about $17 million a year.
Because I think we still have that exception, that trade exception, but that's still a little high. But I don't see him getting that next year if he's a free agent.
Yeah, I see John Rover Furphy, beautiful shooter, nice size, NBA. McCullough is a Tibbs player. McCullough, I
like McCullough.
He's an older player.
I like Furphy too. I like both those guys.
Yeah, McCullough's an older player. He's 23.
He's a winner too.
He's a winner. He's 23. He'll be 24 in his rookie season. His 3-ball came on. He's Josh Hart, a bigger Josh Hart. So he's absolutely a Tibbs player. So I would not be surprised if we heard McCullough, although I think we're only going to draft one and maybe trade. But and folks, the weird part that
the second round, we can pick up someone up in the second round. He might be around then.
Yeah, a couple may be around. But I also
McCullough might be around by the 30.
Yeah, and pick. And also Ryan Dunn, if people got turned off by his shooting, maybe at the 30 around 38. But I also have something that this past season, folks, with Brunson, we have to learn. We need to alleviate some of the stress off Brunson. I really think that we should look hard at DeJounte Murray. Use our assets. DeJounte Murray would take a lot of pressure. He's a clutch player, shooting the ball, can make his own shot. prototype size. I don't know culture wise how he'd fit in, but if he's available, it's something I'd have to look at if we want to preserve Brunson.
At the watch party, people were talking about him too.
We can't have Brunson go through another year next year that he did this year. We're going to take years off his career, literally.
I mean, that's a big conversation, because I have a feeling that Mike Budenholzer going to the Suns is not going to be enough to keep Booker there. There's been rumors, and Stephen A. Smith has said it, and sometimes he's right. Booker's going to ask out. And if it's the difference between Booker and DeJounte Murray, you know what Leon's going to do. He's going to try to get Booker.
I know, but the one thing he's created is culture with Brunson. I don't know about Booker and this culture.
Well, I'd be willing to take that chance.
They had superstars, and they got their ass kicked in 4 games. When you have a Beal, you have a Booker, you have a Durant. How the hell does that happen? You have to be soft.
Well, it happens because your coach isn't the right coach, number one.
And the
number
GM, they needed a point guard.
Yeah, they needed a real point guard. They didn't get a real point guard. They needed a real point guard, so they didn't get that. Booker can run, a couple series here and there. He can play point for 2-3 minutes, like you said, to give Brunson a break, but he's not going to share the duties like the way Brunson and IQ did when they were on the court together, or the way that DeJounte and Brunson would. But Booker,
he's all world, man. That guy could shoot. He can make a shot.
He is the best shooting guard right now. He's premier. So if he becomes available, can you imagine him on this team? Also, it also works the reverse too, Foxy. Brunson's going to make Booker's life so much easier. I mean, when Brunson's breaking down those defenses, he's not going to, and also it's going to make even Jalen's life even easier, because those moments when he's having that 5th and 6th dribble, because he's already committed to making something happen. Because for one, he can't find Dante, and that's really the only other guy we have out there when Randall's hurt and OG's hurt. But let's say even when they're out there, Randall's not necessarily a dependable 3-point shooter anymore. He has moments where he's good. He has stretches. OG is, but he's more of a corner guy. But Booker out there, he's not going to have to go to that 6th and 7th dribble. Once he feels it, he's like, you know what? Boom. He finds Booker out there on the right wing, buries that 3-point shot. He's unbelievable that way, and he also can drive. He's a three level scorer. He's a good defender for his size and his position. Not going to say great, but he's at least a neutral defender, which is really all you need on this team. I mean, he would be tremendous. I'm not saying I want to do this. I'm just saying this is something that I've heard. Just talking about it, because you brought up DeJounte. He's someone to keep an eye on. The off season is going to be crazy. I think there's going to be many more deals than anyone ever expected, more deals than we've had probably in the last 3 years combined. So keep an eye out for that.
I really think that one of the biggest takeaways from this year, folks, and I've made this comment for the last couple of years, I have great respect for Julius Randle. You can't make 3 All-NBA teams and be an all-star without being uber talented. But I also said his style game is not conducive to winning basketball. The reason this team is playing at a much different level is because, 3 seconds or less, they're moving the ball. There's ball movement. When the ball goes to Julius Randle's hands, it's over. Dribble, closing in. All right, I'll kick it out at the last second. Somebody has to take a shot. We saw, I asked people, if Brunson went down this year and Randle was healthy, would the Knicks have the same year?
Yeah.
No.
I'm going to shout. No, they wouldn't. They would. I will say this. It took him. He went through an evolution this season. I think he was playing his best basketball in that January when OG came and his role was better defined. He stopped doing the dribble. I think he figured something out, and that's probably why it was even more frustrating what ended up happening, that he got hurt. But yes, there is the danger he could revert back to being that player. I just wanted to pull this up. These are the rankings right now.
The bottom line is we're showing life can go on without him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You mentioned Klingon. Klingon is number 3 on here, and Castle is number 6 on here. So they obviously believe in the Yukon boys. Here's Cody Williams, the guy we were talking about. This guy, I'm telling you, he's only 19. He's the second youngest. The youngest is Topic.
I mentioned the kid right behind them to you the other day that I've been scouting. Tijan Saloon. He has a gorgeous, beautiful shooting fundamentals. And folks, we saw Wembanyama he's from France, but the kid Bilal Columbia on Washington, he has electric athleticism. Watch him have a good season this year. These kids coming from France, and that's the hardest thing for me, a draft guy. Probably 4 out of the top 5 may be international, but it's so hard when you're scouting. When you're scouting, the kids playing in college and March Madness and stuff, you see the level of competition. Sometimes when you're watching the games overseas, you're like, there's guys down Dykeman that I think can play better than the guys that on the court right there. But that kid Salome, he's intriguing, man. 6'8", but he's not a Tibbs player. He won't play for a couple of years.
Aluwan? Is that the guy?
Yeah, he's like Ousmane Dieng a couple of years ago. He has great, 6'8", gorgeous size, beautiful shot, but he's very he's stiff. He jumps off the film for me of being stiff, so I don't know. He's only 18.
Wait,
he's
who
a
would you say?
And sometimes Tijan Salome, I think he's number 13. No, he was 14. That he's very stiff. Yeah, he's very stiff. And I don't know, like he's 18 years old. Sometimes I said to you and the JD, it's like a baby giraffe, that they're all legs and they look all awkward, but in 2 years that shit's going to come together and he could be something. So he's an athletic guy who doesn't look athletic. He's very Obi Toppin like, where Obi, we talked about a couple years ago, he has those high hips. So north south, Obi is incredible. Obviously we see his dunks and stuff, but his issue on defense are those high hips. He's slow laterally. So I don't know if this guy is from that thing. You can't see him playing real defense over there, but I don't think we're going to pick anyone that's a stash pick. It's not the Knicks style. I think we'll only take somebody, Khalil Will, right off the bat. We saw, Lively. I wanted us to get Lively last year. I wanted us to go for Mark Williams. I talked about Isaiah Jackson a couple of years ago. I saw Mitch will never be healthy, folks. We got to move on from Mitch. Hartenstein, the team, the way he plays, we're not, stats wise, we're not missing offensive rebounding like you would think going from Robinson to Ihart. But we definitely need to move on from Robinson. I don't care how good his contract is if he doesn't get on the court.
I'm not ready to move on from Mitch, but I'm not ready to move on from Mitch at all. But that's not. I mean, a lot of this is dependent on how well the ankle surgery goes, and I think something went wrong in that initial surgery because when I did my research for Randall, but in the shoulder, I did some research on Mitch, and apparently he should have returned an entire month earlier. So the fact that they waited an entire month, to me, I thought, okay, this is good because they're not trying to rush him back, whatever. It just showed that he wasn't progressing the way he should have. So something went wrong in that initial surgery. He had
no bounce. He had no second bounce when he came back. So it was like, why did you bring him back, man? We're just going to get him injured again. And he did.
He screwed up with that surgery. Something happened. And I feel bad for him.
You know what happened is Joel Embiid did a leg hook from UFC on him.
Yeah. But even still, come on, man. I mean, that's he basically re-injured the same exact foot. Again, and then they had to go in and do another procedure.
Ankle,
so we'll see in 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. Tankathon has Tyler Kolek on here for us as the 25th pick. You were mentioning his wingspan. Absolutely, he's only got a 6'2" wingspan. That's a very small arms. Those are tiny. Those are like little T-Rex arms. But defensively, he does a decent job. His field goal percentage is technically going to translate well to, according to them, to the NBA. The same with his effective shooting and his true shooting. His 3-point shooting is at 38.8%. They're neutral on that. They're not saying that's going to translate. So he would have to shoot 39% to make it worthwhile. So he doesn't seem like the right guy for it.
He's not the right guy. Like I said, we got Deuce, we have Rokas. There's no reason we should be spending something on some kid. We could get Ryan Archie Diacomo back and play just as well as him.
Exactly. So you can see here they have Khalil Ware going to the Suns. Interestingly, Furphy going to the Pelicans at 21st. So we're going to miss. I mean, it's possible we miss out on some of these guys. They have Bobby Klintman. Don't know much about him at all.
He's from Sweden. I was scouting him.
George. Keyshawn George is an old freshman. He's almost 20 and a half years old, and that's kind of old as a freshman, but tremendous size, 6'8" and a quarter, 209 pounds. That's an interesting player. He's someone
shoots the three well, but he has no explosion though. He's the slowest piece of shit. He's no explosion at all, literally. So that's why he's off my board. I'm glad you could shoot the three. I'm glad you're 6'8", but we don't need a slow guy with no explosion. What about, that's the last thing.
Kevin McCullough here.
I said to you, he's a Knicks guy. Yeah, he's a Josh Hart. Yeah. A bigger Josh Hart. Tibbs would love him. He's ready to go for a Tibbs type.
6'9" wingspan. Tibbs. Yeah, 6'9" wingspan. So we got a super chat.
So does Miles.
Thank you, Buzzer Beater.
Isn't he cool, Buzzer?
Yeah. Kevin McCullough, he doesn't shoot the three well. That's a big minus. Whereas Josh Hart,
he's shooting it well compared to his first 3 years in college. That's how bad he was.
He was terrible. He's definitely gotten better there. But he's a scrappy guy, so I could see that having some tremendous value for us. And he's older. He crashes the boards. He hits his free throws, which is important. He's a dog. He's a Texas guy. He'll be 20. Well, he'll turn 24 during the season. He might be somebody worthwhile. Like here, they have him going in the first round, but there's a chance he falls out of it. Because when we look into the second round, here's Ryan Dunn. Ryan Dunn is 30. They have him as 31st.
Yep.
Dylan Jones. So we ended up doing a bigger draft show than I thought we were going to. But we'll do this deeper. We'll get it. We'll have it more organized, and we'll also know more later on. So that's look at this. Sixers at the forfeit their second round.
Hey, Buzzer Beater, thanks again for the super chat, and thank you. You knew I was not a big RJ, and I got a lot of shit over the last few years for my comments about RJ. But nobody's missing RJ. We're missing the shit out of IQ.
I'm missing RJ.
Are you?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What are you smoking? That brownie scout again, or animal face? I'm missing IQ, but I ain't missing RJ. No way, no how.
IQ is no doubt. I mean, he was instrumental. But RJ Barrett goes to Toronto, and he now is become a tremendous offensive force. He's in the 81st percentile in points per shot attempt. 81st percentile. Knicks. I mean, who else do we have like that? Brunson. We don't have that many guys like that. We had to make the trade because OG balances us out more. He gives us positional size, which we didn't have with RJ. But in terms of when the offense is clogged and not making anything happen, RJ many times came and saved us. You know, it's easy to overlook that stuff. I know you were always talked about he got blocked at the hoop a lot. Well, that ended. He actually finished. He was the best finisher in the NBA since January 1st. So, you know, we can diss and shit all over him, but that's the reality of what he is in Toronto. I mean, it's not
the reality of him. He's a 20-point-a-game scorer. There's no doubt it. So I give him credit for it. The only issue, he gives up 25.
Hey, and you know what? You need points.
He can't play defense for shit.
Even that's changed as well. So
well, good luck for him. Let him do his thing up in Toronto. First of all, my heart goes out to him and his family for losing his brother. That broke my heart. And I wish him a good career. I'm just glad he's not here on the Knicks any longer. But I do miss IQ.
RJ, where was he? Here we go. IQ. Yeah. Oh my God. He's even look at his 3-point shooting. It just jumped 44% from the corner three. Toronto. 37% non-corner three. He was in the 74th percentile, all threes. His field goal percentage, 60.2. This is from cleaning the glass, so it scrubs out the garbage time. That's 88 percentile. The closest he ever was in his career was when he was in his second year, which was the 35th percentile. So he made a leap. And sometimes he's a young player. Sometimes that happens. He's in a better situation, better floor spacing for him. He didn't work with Randall for us here. But
to the same player, they need a long runway.
They're
not players that can make their shot in 3 dribbles or less. They need a long runway, and having Randall there, having Mitch clogging the paint wasn't helpful for him.
Right. Yeah, and ironically, RJ would benefit playing with OG so much. You know, so like Toronto, think about it from Toronto's standpoint, man, if they had just been able to hold on to OG and bring in someone like an RJ or an IQ, boy, that they would be sitting pretty right now. But I'll tell you, Toronto is going to be a decent team next season. They're going to be a decent team. They're going to make that little move up. They're going to possibly compete for the play-in. I could see that happening with them. In terms of Emmanuel Quickly, when he went there, man, he also took off. But not as effective in points scored per attempt. Well, he's a microwave.
We need...
Yeah. But all orange.
We need
all
a microwave
orange
back.
The board here. Yeah, we do. I miss him tremendously. If we had him now, forget about it. But the beauty is Deuce is giving us what IQ would be giving us. You know, stellar defense out on the perimeter. Hits a 3-point bucket here and there when we need it. Can drive and break down a defense at times. He's giving us Deuce is giving us what IQ was giving us. He doesn't have the high ceiling that IQ has, but you know, I think what he's doing is fantastic. We're really, I mean, that was a brilliant move to sign Deuce to a 3-year, $13 million contract. That was outstanding.
Hey, Deuce has exceeded my expectations, so you know he's definitely a Tibbs player, man. I see him just getting better.
Yeah, totally. I see him getting better as well. And you're right, Weed. There, he's a high IQ guy. Absolutely.
You know, also this just for a funny thing I shared with JD about he's a better athlete than people think, McBride. That at the combine, Ryan Dunn was 6th with a 38.5 vertical, which is better than Trey Murphy, which is better than Herbert Jones. But Deuce McBride had the same 38.5 vertical. So he's a lot more athletic than people think, Deuce. Mm-hmm. So I'm just hoping that he works on that footwork from Brunson so he can create more than anything. He needs to work on his handle. So his handle will help him create more of a separation. He has issues creating separation, and he also has issues if somebody's putting pressure on him while he's dribbling. So that's, work on the floater, work on his midi,
dribble.
and work on the dribble, and he goes to the next level. And he will. He's that type of guy. He's a gym rat, and we love those.
His handle has improved this season, even from the beginning of the season. Is that his handle has improved? So that's a good sign. He just keeps work on. He works on it more in the off season. He'll get it to that level where we need it. But you know who has a great handle is Rokas.
Beautiful
Rokas
handle.
has
Phenomenal
a tremendous handle.
It's like Goran Dragic, that type of handle.
Yeah.
Hey,
all right. So here are
quick, I'm sorry. I just saw Hartheimer say, I disagree. Some rookie could be just as good as a chewer with more upside. Hartheimer, one of those people that could be that, is Deron Holmes out of Dayton. He's the same size as Precious, 7'2" wingspan, 6'9", but has a nice from three and his short range jumper. So that is somebody
he's
that
a shot
could take.
blocker.
Yeah, so I've been watching him for a few years.
He averaged almost 3 assists. Yeah, 6.
I'm telling you,
he averaged almost 3 assists per game. That's
yeah.
good.
So a good point.
They have him here projected to go. They have him here projected to go to the Nuggets with the 28th pick. So that's somebody that if our scouts believe in, he could be an interesting pickup. Great size,
and also modern NBA. He can, cover somebody on the perimeter.
38.6%.
I'm telling you.
And he can shoot his free throws. He can shoot his free throws. 71%.
Yeah,
decent.
So he's absolutely on my radar. But great point, Hartheimer. Although Precious is a Bronx boy, I'm a Bronx boy. Shout out to Castle Hill. So I wouldn't want to give up on Precious.
Precious has been frustrating to me, though, because sometimes he looks unbelievable, and then other times he looks totally lost. It's like, where's that consistency, bro? He passes up the three. He's wide open, and then doesn't do anything with it.
Yeah, but he's made some blocks recently in the last few games.
Oh no, he's had some great moments. Yeah, he's had some great moments, but you're like, I want more of that, and then he gives you, the not so great moments. It's like he's right there in front of the hoop and decides to dribble, and then they collapse around him.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. What were you saying?
The problem is he's 2 to 3 inches shorter than he needs to be on some of the guys he's guarding.
Let's see here. All right, I think we're going to wind it down pretty soon.
Okay.
Hey, man, hit that thumbs up button for us. Definitely would appreciate that. And hit that, smash that emoji button down below.
For the super chats tonight, too.
Absolutely. Thank you, Buzzer Beater. Thank you, Mr. J. Russ. Appreciate the support tremendously. I'm going to start a membership section, and there'll be a little more, like some small, if you become a member, we'll have members only chats, and maybe we'll do some Zooms, and we can all share our thoughts and feelings together. Have some private spaces, and there'll be some giveaways and stuff. So it'd be great way to support the channel ongoing with a membership. Probably be announcing that officially when we begin the Eastern Conference Finals. But first, we got business to take care of tomorrow night. The New York Knicks, they're probably flying to Indiana right now, unless they're already there. I don't know. But tomorrow's first of all, it's a do or die game for Indiana, and we have to treat it the same way as Margaret Edwards posted earlier. Got to approach it like it's a game 7. Don't want to leave anything to chance, and Thibs looks at it that way as well. So I'm confident that's going to be the attitude they're going to have. We took care of the Sixers in game 7. I think we're going to do the same, and this time the New York Knicks are going to get that extra rest because, well, let's check the score. Are they leading? Yes, Minnesota is leading 26-11. Woo! Nice. If they win that game and we win tomorrow night, the first game of the Eastern Conference Finals will be on Tuesday. So the Knicks will have had 3 nights in between, which is very important to heal up those muscles, rejuvenate themselves, and possibly we will get OG Anunoby back in time for game 1. That would be nice.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts, Foxy?
Thank you. I enjoyed. I missed my friends in the chat. Thank you so much. Go Knicks. I really think we're going to close them out tomorrow. I feel very strongly about it. And then for the Battle of the Ages against the Celtics, man.
Battle of the Ages. A 1 and 2 seed right there. Battling for the Eastern Conference crown. The thought that this team, I mean, they were back in when Randall and OG went down. We were like thinking, man, are we going to be able to hang on for a playoff spot? Maybe grab the 6th seed, or are we going to slip into the play-in? And then who knows what will happen? Could we even possibly miss the playoffs totally? To think that that's where we were, and we are 4 quarters away from the Eastern Conference Finals, from being one of the final 4 teams in the National Basketball Association for the 2023-24 season, is total proof that no one else knew what the hell they were talking about when they were analyzing the Knicks.
But also,
except right here into the Knicks-Verse, I called it 49 wins, but that was 2 wins that I could not prognosticate because they were not scheduled because of the in-season tournament. So we ended up with 50 wins. I thought the 2nd seed was possible, but I thought, the 3rd seed is probably what's really, really achievable. But then injuries hurt other teams. And I will say, even though the Sixers, I hated what Embiid did and all that stuff to our team, they were a tremendous team. Actually, if he was fully healthy the whole time, they probably would have been the 2nd seed, and we would have been playing on their home court. They would have had the home court advantage against us. We still might have been able to win, but they're by far the 3rd best team in the East. The Bucks, I never believed in them because their defense sucked. Even with a healthy Giannis and a Lillard, their defense sucked. You can't win in the NBA.
They made a bad miscalculation when getting rid of Drew.
Exactly. Teams can't go deep in the playoffs if they're not at least in the top 10 in both defense and offense in the NBA. It's just historical. I think there was one team in the past 20 years that maybe was like 11th ranked defense or whatever, but they had like the number 1 offense or whatever. So it balances out. But you can't be all or nothing, so teams like the Pacers, like the Bucks, which ironically they kept battling each other all season long, and the Pacers ended up winning that battle in the end. But I didn't believe in them. Did not believe in them. I did believe in the Sixers, and I did believe in the Celtics. Obviously, who doesn't? Hey, Chris Lopez, thank you so much for the super chat, brother. Appreciate it. Chris Lopez, longtime supporter of Into the Knicks-Verse, one of the OGs. One of the original dudes when I first started here, when I had like 30 subscribers. To think that we're right here, right now, is fantastic. And Jalen Brunson, his trajectory this season has been amazing. It started like just after the new year, where people started waking up to how brilliant he is. And guys like Kendrick Perkins put the spotlight on him, which was wonderful. And then eventually he became an all-star. He should have started, but he became an all-star. He got that love. I think he's going to end up being a first-team All-NBA from what I'm hearing. He's going to end up being first team, second team at the lowest. But definitely,
how can't he be?
I know, but you know how people are. They're just ridiculous. They have these biases.
Haters.
They can't wait. Yeah. I mean, they look at what usually happens, but this is not what usually happens. When you encounter greatness, is the unusual. It's just inherent in the term. You're great. That means there aren't many like you. That means You're unique. That means you're an outlier, and that is what Jalen Brunson is. He is kind of like an Allen Iverson in a lot of ways, where he's the little guy who can carry a team all the way to the finals. And I'm telling you here right now, I know it's a little early because we haven't won this series yet. But if we do win this series the way we are looking at it, the Celtics have a world of pain in front of them because we're going to get OG back. We're going to get him back. Now, whether he sticks around or not, we'll see. But we're going to get him back. And OG on this team, the way it's cooking right now, is enough to take care of business against the Boston Celtics, and this team could be in the finals.
Yeah, they're a talented team, the Celtics. Incredible, but I think they lack the character that the Knicks have. And I think that's a factor that a lot of people don't put in. We play them tough every game. And, that last game where we're going to rest our starters, we're going to rest them, they played them, we beat their ass. Whoa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Remember that? No way. 31-14, Timberwolves leading the Nuggets at the end of the first quarter. That'll be wild. Hopefully that will go to 7 games. Like we mentioned earlier, if you're joining late, the Knicks, if they win tomorrow night and Timberwolves win tonight, then the first game of the Eastern Conference Finals will be on Tuesday. And that's beautiful. What we want. If Denver comes back and wins tonight and we win tomorrow night, then game 1 will be on Sunday because they will not go without a Sunday game. So that's it. Thank you guys for joining us here. Thank you for the super chats, Chris Lopez, a buzzer beater, Mr. J. Russ. Really appreciate all of the support and everyone here who came to join us. Your robust chat has been fabulous. I've been eyeballing it here. Yeah, it's been a great discussion. We even got into some draft discussion here. I think we found a couple of players. I think this Deron Holmes. Now, just looking at it right now, he fits the kind of profile player that I'm looking for. Like you were saying, that stretch 5 type of player. And he's got a decent age. He'll be 22 next year when he's playing on the team. He's a junior athletic. From Dayton. Dayton's a quality program. He's a shot blocker. Yeah, his one weakness is offensive rebounds, but that could also kind of, who knows, the style of play that they have there. Offensive rebounding is dictated by style of play often.
Yep.
As you can see, like with Isaiah Hartenstein was not doing the job in game 3 and 4, and that's because he was too far away from the hoop, and then he was, he ended up trying to crash, and the rebounds were going over his head a lot of times. It was a really difficult situation for him, but now that's been fixed by Deuce starting. I can't wait for tomorrow night's game. I will be doing a little watch party at the Greyhound. So if anyone in LA is here, they want to come and watch the game with us, come down and watch the game with my son and I and Steven from the Greyhound as well. We had a great time, even though it was a massacre on Mother's Day. We still had a blast. And then the very first one was against the Bucks, that last game against the Bucks, which was awesome, a great win. So we hope to repeat that kind of magic again. Man, just so proud of this team. And I'm so proud of the fans, man. So proud, especially the fans here that we have here in the Knicks-Verse.
They're great fans, and they deserve a winner. I'm blessed because I'm old and I lived through 2 championships, and Walt Frazier was on my wall and always be my number 1 point guard. But the fans, I love New York. I'm a Bronx boy my whole life, and the New York fans deserve a winner because they are winners, New York fans.
100%. Okay, thank you so much, Foxy. You made this show incredible, like always. I really appreciate
Thank you, man. Love you
coming on and your enthusiasm. It's infectious, and your analysis is always on point. Even when we disagree, I love it. And like I say, people can disagree. That's the beauty of it. You don't have to like flame, just go crazy at each other. That's stuff I don't understand.
JD and I talk about it. It stimulates thoughts, man. I don't want that. If I'm wrong, I like to be wrong. If somebody's educating me to why I'm wrong. So yeah, I'm open. That's why I love the chat. I learned so much from our fans in the chat. They're awesome.
Yes, But yeah, me too. I mean, they're like I say they're collaborators on the channel. There's a lot of times they point stuff out.
New York fans are the smartest, most intelligent fans, I think, in the league, and without a question. You go to a Knicks game and somebody puts up a stupid shot, you hear the fans already, oh man, what are you doing? They know basketball, man. I love that. They're not some small market, no shit team.
yeah. And it's not just basketball. I mean, baseball. I mean, tremendous
Everything.
hockey fans. Their knowledge, their passion for their
Go
team,
Yankees.
and their knowledge is tremendous. I remember going to see some Dodger games and fans losing their shit against Pedro Martinez, and I'm like, what the hell? You guys realize you guys got rid of him? They act like he betrayed them. It's like, no, your team got rid of him. If you're that angry, send it in the correct direction. But that's what happens in other places, but not in New York. New York, we understand things. New York, we salute players who return to our arenas and stadiums. Because, once a New Yorker.
Warriors.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Knicks 100 AGM throws this in at the last second. Herb Jones for Mitch. Easy flip. That's
they're going to keep Herb Jones. The one they're going to get rid of is Brandon Ingram, and I wouldn't want to have any part of him personally. They're going to keep trade.
Me either.
Murphy,
you don't know how many people have tried to get me on
Herbert
the Brandon Ingram.
Herbert.
Yeah, they were trying to convince me of Brandon Ingram for years.
I'm not there.
No, I'm not there. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching this. Again, my name is George. This is Into the Knicks-Verse. Please subscribe. Follow us both on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter and Foxy as well. And if you guys are watching this later on, if you have thoughts that you'd like to share with us, we would love them. Please just drop them in the comments. We try to read them all. And I hope you guys have a great evening. Get your rest, because tomorrow the New York Knicks are closing this series out, and they're going to do it in a beautiful fashion. It's going to be a nice, comfortable win for us. This is like wishful thinking. I'm putting that out in the air. I actually think it's going to be more like a 109, 105 sweat fest at the end.
No, 110.
I know what you're saying. But that's why it will be a sweat fest. It will be 109. But there'll be some crazy shit that happens at the end of it, and like someone hits a three, like we were up 10, and suddenly we're like it's only 4. Like, oh no, we're gonna be freaking out, but we're gonna come away with the win. We're gonna break a lot of hearts in Indiana, and it's gonna be a wonderful night. And then gonna be on here live. But I'm going to have to race home to do that. I'm going to be watching this with friends and stuff. Usually I don't watch playoff games.
I'll drink to that.
Yeah. I don't watch playoff games outside because I'm a maniac. I go crazy. But apparently at the Greyhound, they don't care. So that'll be that. So come join me. That'll be fun if you're in L.A. And Foxy, one day you got to come out to L.A., man. Visit me here. It'll be fun.
I don't leave New York, man. I don't like any place else.
There you go. True New Yorkers.
I'm safe here in New York, man.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't yet. Turn on the notification bell so you're alerted when we go live and when I drop a video. And I appreciate everybody showing up here. We had a great crowd. I think over 200 in the chat at one point. Fantastic group. Great discussion. And we will see you around the Knicks-Verse. Let's go Knicks!
Yeah!